They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Yet every day, we pour more and more into a world that just doesn't seem to fill. More policies, more technology, more solutions, all into a system that's designed to leak. Ladies and gentlemen, we often ask, why isn't it working? Why? With all our wealth, science, and solutions, why does the planet still feel like it's falling apart? Maybe the real question we should be asking is, why are we still pouring into a broken bowl? And why do we worship convenience, even though we know it costs us the future? Whether it's the missed shot at the trash bin we're too lazy to pick up, that straggling bottle that we'll recycle later, or that clearly overfilled garbage that we just pile more garbage on top of, half of which falls off. And we try to fix it. More technology, more policies, more ideas, more. Well, what if I told you that the whole problem with sustainability doesn't stem from our inability to process sustainable, renewable resources efficiently? In fact, it doesn't even stem from technology or policy, but culture. See, culture isn't just what we wear, watch, or celebrate. It's the invisible script that tells us how to live. It's the reason why we buy things we don't need, throw away things we've barely used, and pretend someone else will clean up the mess. But here's the good news. Culture isn't fixed. Culture is reshaped, recreated, again and again. Which means if culture created this problem, then culture can fix it. But before I tell you how, let me take you on a trip around the world so you can see how changing culture can change lives. First stop, Japan. A little girl takes her mom by the hand, walking down streets that look pristine. Not because there's trash cans around every corner. Actually, there are barely any. But rather because the culture doesn't allow littering. You see, in the other hand, the girl has a juice box. And as she finishes her juice box, she doesn't throw it on the ground. She holds it all the way home. Because of one word that rests in her mind. Mottainai. It means waste nothing. It shows up in everything. Plastic containers are rinsed out before being recycled. Plastic wrappers are folded and reused. Grandparents pass down old clothing that still looks new. Not because it's cheap, but because they've cared for it. Next stop, Sweden. Here, you'll hear the word lagom. It means not too little, not too much, just enough. It shows up in everything. People buy smaller homes, not because they can't afford bigger ones, but because they value balance over excess. Their fashion, minimal, long-lasting. Even their famous coffee breaks, fika, are slow, intentional, and communal. Did you know that about only 1% of Sweden's waste ends up in landfills? They've literally run out of trash. Why? Because of a cultural shift. A culture that says, live well, but live wisely. Finally, we'll fly south to Rwanda. About 15 years ago, Rwanda banned plastic bags. But here's the amazing part. The law actually worked. People stopped using them. Why? Not because of enforcement alone, but rather a cultural shift. You see, on the Saturday at the end of each month, the whole nation participates in a nationwide cleanup. Parks, villages, schools, all clean their communities. It's something called umuganda. And they do this because the culture allowed it to procure. Now, Rwanda is regarded as one of, if not the cleanest country in Africa. Again, because of a culture that says sustainability isn't built on the backs of workers, but rather by the hands of neighbors. 3 countries, 3 cultures, 3 ways of living that prove this truth. When sustainability is written into the culture, it becomes automatic, it becomes identity, and it becomes powerful. So the question is, what kind of culture will we create? But more importantly, how will we create it? I mean, just look at Canada, a large producer of waste in the world. How many of you have, instead of throwing trash into the bin when walking around, you threw it near the bin and hoped for the best. Unfortunately, I know I have. If we want to change our culture, we need to change the story we live by, our fundamental mindset. And right now, our mindset's, good enough. So today I'm going to give you 3 ways we can flip the script. From good enough to built to last. From a boring chore to powerful cultural habits. Number 1, marketing. Let's be honest. Consumers don't just buy products. They buy status, identity. The Jordans one buys after already owning 5 pairs. The new 2K or FIFA model that they buy every year, day in and day out. Even the supermarket you choose to go to buy the brand of milk you choose to buy. People do not just buy products, no. They buy into what's trending, fashionable, and comfortable. So, how do we play that into sustainability? Again, marketing. We market sustainability as cool. We look at the countries who have performed amazing sustainable feats, and we don't dock them off as inconvenient. No, we admire them. We aspire to be like them. We applaud them for what they have done. Next, social interaction. See, I said people don't just buy into products, but they also buy into people. You see, people follow influencers, not for the ads, but for the person behind the post. Which is why when your favorite influencer upcycles their clothing or carries a reusable bottle, not as a campaign, but as a lifestyle, it's inspiring. It makes you want to follow that person. It turns eco-consciousness into something that's desirable, even cool. Because let's be honest, culture is not shared best through corporations. It's shared best through connection. And social media, well, that's where culture is shared and sold one scroll at a time. Finally, we have to change the narrative. For way too long, sustainability has been sold as guilt, sacrifice, and giving up something. But what if we flip that? What if we changed it into something that wasn't about giving up something, but rather about gaining something better? Smarter designs, stronger communities. Take Copenhagen, for example. They didn't just build wind turbines. No, they made it part of the city's identity. Now, those sleek blades rise proudly above the city's skyline as a token of innovation, not struggle. Because let's be honest, everyone wants to join something that feels like progress, but no one wants to join a movement that feels like punishment. Ladies and gentlemen, our grandchildren won't ask us what we built. They'll ask us what we believed, what we chose to instill, the story we chose to write. Because in reality, every culture writes a story. And right here, and in the coming years, we get to decide whether that story will be one of a warning or will be a legacy. The way we thought about sustainability today is the same way we once thought about seatbelts, smoking, or fitness. Change happens when a new mindset becomes the norm. So the next time you make a sustainable choice, share it. Normalize it. Celebrate it. Because the more people see it, the more it becomes a part of our culture. And culture is what truly moves the planet forward. Thank you.